What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster. And after the Ubisoft investor call this past week, everyone's attention was focused on the performance of Assassin's Creed Shadows and the performance of the stock value of Ubisoft, but lost in all the news is the fact that the company is still preparing to lay off a bunch of employees because of all of the piss-poor decision-making the company has made in the past few years.
You're fired! Everybody's fired!
From the moment Ubisoft announced their deal with Tencent, we knew that an epic bloodbath was on its way, and the earnings call where they had to announce how poorly they performed as a company was certainly not going to change that. Many have speculated that we would see multiple thousands of jobs being eliminated, and based on this headline right here, it would seem that they are gearing up for the bloodbath. Do you know how many employees they have to get rid of to save $110 million?
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Now, of course, we don't know the average salary of a Ubisoft employee specifically, but a quick Google search suggests that a game developer in France makes somewhere between 40 and 48,000 euros per year. Obviously, more experienced developers will make more than that, but even if we assume the high end of the curve for the average cost of a Ubisoft employee, this headline here suggests that Ubisoft is still looking to trim something in the ballpark of 2,000 jobs in the semi-near future.
You've killed me!
You have done that yourself!
Meanwhile, Ubisoft has announced that pretty much all of their high-profile games have been delayed to 2026 and 2027, and the media is trying like hell to spin this as a positive. As usual, they're trying to make it seem like Assassin's Creed Shadows was a massive success, and that delaying it several months was some kind of a blueprint for future success, and now Ubisoft is copying that blueprint with all of their games, but let's call it like it is. Delaying games is the last-ditch effort of the desperate, and for a company which recently traded a quarter of the value of anything that actually had value at Ubisoft for $1 billion bailout from Tencent, well, let's just say they likely need capital as fast as they can get it, so this delay of their games comes off as a desperate retreat from gamers who are after their ass for being so combative for the past few years. Alright, me hearties, make sure you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. Audiobook of a dark fantasy novel I've written is currently available for members only, and there is also a space pirate cartoon that I'm working on. The thing is, I realize it's important that we not just complain about what we don't like, alternatives must be provided. So, I humbly ask that you consider becoming a member of the channel for $5 per month. But, alright, let's talk about all the news that has been swirling around with regards to Ubisoft. First of all, as I said before, the company plans to cut costs by around $110 million over the next year or so. Now, for anyone out there who wants to suggest that these moves that we're about to look at from Ubisoft, if you want to suggest that these are power moves made by a company that is kicking ass, what you need to do is keep coming back to this headline right here. Do you see Saber Interactive looking to cut massive costs like this? Or Sandfall? Or Capcom? Hell no you don't. Those are companies with games that have sold well relative to what they cost to make. Ubisoft is not in that position, so keep this headline in mind as we read more about the moves that Ubisoft is making. But anyhow, as I was saying earlier, the mainstream media continues to act like they are Ubisoft's guardians, trying to spin the delays of their games into something positive. There were a ton of articles like this one here with headlines trying to make this sound like a positive. This one came from Eurogamer. It says, Ubisoft moving some of our biggest productions into 2026 and 2027 after positive impact of Assassin's Creed Shadows delay. Or this one comes from MSN. It says, Ubisoft's delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows worked out so well, the company is pushing back some of its biggest hitters, potentially as far as March of 2028. Or look at this one from the outlet VG247. Assassin's Creed Shadows delay turned out well, so Ubisoft's bigwigs are pushing some of the biggest games it has in the works further down the road. And then this one is my favorite here from PC Gamer. The Assassin's Creed Shadows delay worked out so well for Ubisoft, its CEO decided, hey, let's do a couple more for the road and save 100 million more euros while we're at it. Somehow, they managed to talk about both the delay in their games and the cutting of thousands of jobs, and they put a positive spin on both of them as if Ubisoft is thriving. The people at these outlets are liars and hacks, but that headline seriously takes some kind of talent to create. That level of positive spin being spun out of something so negative is actually really difficult to do. It's incredible that these outlets make it sound like having to spend extra time actually fixing bugs in the games is a novel idea, when in actuality, we simply know that this is just novel for Ubisoft. If these were more accurate headlines, they wouldn't be talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, they'd be mentioning Star Wars Outlaws, because what Ubisoft learned last year is that if they keep on releasing super buggy games, especially at the price point that they ask for, people will crucify them and they will not buy this shit. Now, clearly, there are more reasons why their games aren't selling, but that seems to have been Ubisoft's main takeaway, that they had way too many bugs in Star Wars Outlaws. The video clips from that game right when it came out, those were epic as hell. People ripped into that bug-laden mess pretty badly, so Ubisoft very publicly made sure we knew they were delaying Shadows in order to clean it up. But let's be real here, the biggest goal of delaying Assassin's Creed Shadows multiple times was to get people to forget about all of the negative attention that the game and the company were getting. They were retreating from gamers, hoping we'd forget about them, but it didn't actually work out like they wanted. As we discussed the other day, they've only sold around 2.7 million copies of that title so far, which is awful considering the budget. The gambit is the same with all of these other games, which have not been named, mind you, but we can pretty much guarantee that it includes the next Assassin's Creed game, codenamed Assassin's Creed Hexe. It's the one where you're gonna play as a witch during the time of the Salem witch trials, and they straight up introduce magic into the canon of the IP. It really sounds like shit. I'm sure it's going to be another feminist, girl boss, just disgusting game that most of us aren't going to want to play. But that game was rumored to be coming out this year, but I wouldn't expect it now to come out until 2026 at the earliest. But one bit of interesting Ubisoft news that we are getting now is that Charlie Guillemot, the CEO's son, is coming back to Ubisoft. Now, you may not remember, but back in 2021, Jason Schreier, the journalist, started a cancellation of Charlie Guillemot because he used a raised fist symbol for a terrorist faction in Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, and the journalist class thought that looked really bad for the commie movements that they're trying to push. So Ubisoft bowed to the woke mob and removed the guy from the company, but he's back, which is, on one hand, a good sign, because even though I'm not a fan of the Guillemot family, I despise cancel culture and don't want people to lose their jobs because of the mob. That being said, it's funny that the company is preparing to axe thousands of low-level employees as they try to cut costs, but we can always make room for the boss's son. It says a lot about them and the state of the industry. doesn't it? But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of Ubisoft into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.